Taoiseach, for some very considerable amount of time, People Before Profit has argued that we need a state construction company in order to address the absolutely dire housing and homelessness crisis and to deliver the housing we need, and in particular to deliver the social and affordable housing we need to address that crisis. The evidence for that is manifold. The government has not met its own social housing targets. It has not met its own affordable housing targets. The National Residential Property Price Index today again confirms that private developers and the private sector are still delivering housing that is getting ever more expensive, up 4% last year, the 7th month in a row that house prices have gone up. They are now above Celtic Tiger heights. And something I've mentioned a few times in the last few weeks, the private developers and private sector are not building family homes, 3 and 4 bedroom homes. They're building disproportionately 1 and 2 bedroom because they can maximise profits, and this is contributing directly to the rise in child and family homelessness. But as if all that wasn't enough evidence, we have more evidence today, with Goodbody stockbrokers, an unlikely source, confirming that the private developers and private builders simply do not have the capacity to meet the housing requirements of the state. They state that the state's housing building sector has a distinct lack of scale, that the lack of scale threatens the attainment of Ireland's housing requirements. This, by the way, is further echoed in an ESRI report at the beginning of this year that says we don't have enough construction workers in order to deliver on the state's housing requirements, that we are probably 15 to 20,000 construction workers short of getting to the necessary levels of housing supply in order to begin to address the housing crisis. Goodbody elaborate the point when they say, compared to England, the top 10 builders here are building far lower proportion of the housing we need, that only 5 companies built more than 500 units last year, and that the Irish building and construction sector is dominated by small-scale builders that are building on average 34 units per year, simply not at the races in terms of delivering the scale of housing output, and particularly the social and affordable housing output that we need to address the crisis. So I ask you, Taoiseach, do we not now have all the evidence that we need that the state has to have its own construction capacity, that private developers and builders are not capable of giving us the housing supply, and particularly the affordable and social housing supply we need to address the dire and urgent housing crisis? Taoiseach, please.
Thanks, Deputy. First of all, the state does have a construction company. It's called the LDA. It was established in 2019. It went off to a slow start, but it's really getting going now. You'll know Shanganagh in your own constituency, where hundreds of social and affordable houses are being built. You like to claim that there are none in your constituency, but there are hundreds being built, and they will be available quite soon for people to occupy. And I certainly hope when people do live there, you won't have the brass neck to knock on their doors and look for their votes, because the LDA, Deputy, is a body you vote against the establishment of. And I've been sent a very long list by Deputy Carol McNeill just now, and indeed previously by Deputy Devlin, of all the developments in your own constituency which you objected to. On ideological grounds, because they're built by a private provider, and they were 1 beds and 2 beds. Yet if you look at the facts, look at the homelessness, look at the housing shortage, the area that we need the most new housing in Ireland actually are 1 beds and 2 beds. Yes, we need family homes as well, but the biggest shortage is for 1 beds and 2 beds. And these are the kind of things that you and people who share your ideology seem to regularly object to. Deputy, we built over 30,000 new homes in Ireland last year. That's up from 20,000 when I first became Taoiseach back in 2017, up from 7,000 when my party got into office. We're scaling this up. We're scaling it up as fast as we possibly can. We're not willing to cut corners. We saw what happened in the past when that was done. And I don't think it should be a case of public versus private. If you try to fix the housing crisis with just the public sector, you're putting one hand behind your back. And Deputy, I understand your position based on your politics and ideology, and you're entitled to your ideology, is that pretty much all houses, or the vast majority of houses, should be built by the state. I think that's a mistake. I think you'll build less, and I think it'll cost more. What we want is the public sector and the private sector working together. You're right about the skill shortage. We know that's an issue. That's why Minister Harris in particular has led the charge in apprenticeships. We now have about 10,000 people becoming apprentices every year now, which I think is pretty extraordinary. And we also have changed the work permit system and work visa system to allow more people with construction skills from outside of the European Union to come here, and they're much needed and they're very welcome. And we're investing in MMC, modern methods of construction, so that we can build homes much quicker. And you're welcome to come out to Churchfields in my constituency to see where Fingal County Council, a local authority, a public body, is building hundreds of new homes, social and affordable, using MMC, and I would encourage councils that aren't doing that to do that. The whole point of local government is autonomy, allowing councils to do different things. But there are very good examples of very good councils, best practice councils, and I would ask people to come out to Fingal and see what a local authority, a public body, is doing in my constituency using MMC, building hundreds of social and affordable houses. The same in your constituency in Shangana, which you always refuse to acknowledge.
Deputy Boyd Barrett.
You've some brass neck. I've been campaigning for Shangana to develop public and affordable housing for 17 years. It was Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil on the council who wanted to insist that there would be some private development. It was people before profit that argued relentlessly the entire development. I wasn't talking to you. The entire development should be social and affordable, and we eventually won out against the resistance of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. But it has taken 17 years to finally deliver, and they're still not delivered, the social and affordable housing on that site. 17 years. So what we are saying is to supplement the lack of capacity in the private sector. So don't play at this either-or business. We are saying, as Good Body are saying, the private builders and developers do not have the capacity. That's what they're arguing. And that we need, in order to ramp up our housing delivery and to deliver social and affordable housing, which your government is failing to do. It missed its social targets, it missed its affordable targets, and it is self-evident that the housing that is being built by the private sector is unaffordable. Average house prices, 327,000. In my area, 620,000. Average rents in Dunleary, now 2,400. In Dublin, 2,200. This is not affordable. We need a state construction company to build up the capacity to build houses and to make them public and affordable.
Ceann Comhairle, there's something I admire about the Deputy, and I do mean this. I'm not trying to be smart here. Deputy Boyd Barrett is very articulate, very passionate, and performs really well in this House. But it's really obvious when you get angry, not just pretending to be angry, when you're genuinely angry. And the way you spoke to Deputy Carol McNeill there was no, Deputy.
You don't want to be heckled, do you?
No, but
no.
I know.
So why should she heckle me?
No, but you know what I'm going to say to you now, Deputy.
Yeah.
I'm in this House 4 hours a week, sometimes 5 hours a week.
Yeah.
I get constantly heckled.
Not by me.
Sometimes by you, just as you are now, often by members opposite. And I've never talked down to somebody like that, particularly a female deputy across the way. I'm not listening to you.
I said I wasn't talking
Deputy, please.
Again, you're brass necked. Do you not see the irony of it? I'm criticising you for talking down to Deputy Carol McNeill, for heckling her, and then you're heckling me. Like, and is Ceann Comhairle, is the Deputy not out of order?
He is out of order.
Thank you.
Yes.
The Deputy.
Deputy Carol McNeill wasn't out of order.
There's a lot of people out of order, so would you please?
Anyway, let's deal with the substantive issue now that we've dealt with the nonsense.
We're out of time.
What we need is more private and more public. The constraint is not who owns the company. The constraint is the workers with the skills and the materials. That's where the constraint is.